Let me show you what he sees. Let's assume he saw a woman holding a baby in her arms. Now we cut back to his reaction to what he sees, and he smiles. Now what is he as a character? He's a kindly man. He's sympathetic. Now, let's take the middle piece of film away, the woman with the child, but leave his two pieces of film as they were. Now we'll put in a piece of film of a girl in a bikini. He looks, girl in a bikini, he smiles. What is he now? The dirty old man. He's no longer the benign gentleman who loves babies. That's the difference. That's what film can do for you.
Hi, this is Sharat and welcome to the Ocean of Filmmaking. So let me ask you something. When you watch a movie, why you get hooked? Is it interesting because of the intellectual choice in writing or the extreme flawlessness in the direction? Or is it just a magical combination of scene and sound that drew you? Well, it might or it might not be, because cinema is a mixture of several art forms. None of them are originated from filmmaking. Writing from books, vision from painting, sound from music. And the accumulation of all these art forms is cinema. So filmmaking is accumulation or combination or editing. Film editing is one of the most under-reckoned and inconspicuous craft in filmmaking, as we can feel it but we can't see it. Since the origin of cinema, editing is considered as a technical process rather than an artistic physique. The process then was just to cut the bad parts out. Gradually through the years, with the help of Edward S. Poton's Great Train Robbery and James Williamson's attack on China Mission Station, including few Soviet and foreign filmmakers, editing is influenced as actually the original and genuine craft of filmmaking, which bonds together several art forms to represent cinema.
That makes it incredible is the editing, the incredible juxtaposition of images.
More like invisible, editing is untraceable. So when we observe a movie deep into its construction of film editing, we miss the flow of the movie. So an editor must be extremely concentrated to look at the density of every frame, every scene, every movement and feel the same way as the audience do. It takes a great liability to cinema and adaptability to observe every frame. In a simpler form, it needs an instinct to be an editor and to feel like an editor.
Nothing gets in the way of the editing process. It's the process of your thinking. I don't cut from what I call knowledge. I have to come into and I have to feel it.
As the decades gone, editing developed as a major craft in cinema. Editors developed certain theories or suggestions to construct the form of cutting or splashing the frame into a better understandable, continuous, organic mood for cinema. As many theories evolved, we may break them into three major parts. Number 1. Structure of editing. Also called as screenplay, an editor must consider the construction of cinema similar to the construction of a building. The alignment of every frame, every scene into the time and space of a movie shapes a particular unique mood for the movie itself. For example, let's consider Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. The movie opens with the hotel robbery and shifts to Vincent and Jules' mass murder following Butch's entrance. It's non-linear in time. What if we align it according to the time, like opening from mass murder, then to Jimmy, following the robbery and Butch the boxer's entrance? Did you get it? If we could play a bit with the sequences of the movie, we may change a worthless shit to a masterpiece. We may open with the establishment of a city and then to the character. It results in the influence of city on the character. And if we introduce the character thereafter city, it may give us the character's point of view of the city.
call it?
The coin don't have no say. It's just you.
Well, I got here the same way the coin did.
Number 2. Rhythm. So when we dance, do we really figure out our every movement from each part of our body and estimate the song? Or we just let it flow? Let ourselves bond rhythmically to the tune and immerse into the obliviousness of its pace? Similarly, editing with rhythm must flow with the pace of scene and sound. Like cutting for reaction, cutting with sound, and cutting through midway. It always emphasizes the natural mood and emotion of the scene according to the point of view we have chosen. To understand it deeper, let's go a little into human psychology. Why do we blink? Blinking occurs as a natural phenomena of our daily routine. Like we talk, like we move, like we blink. Biologically, tear glands in the outside corners of our eyes are always making tears, and the blinking of our eyelids wipes them away. That keeps the front surfaces of our eyes moist and clean. If we genuinely blink 25 times a minute, then why do we blink rhythmically? Like, we blink faster when we are confused or tense. But gradually, we stop blinking when we think. So let me put it this way. Blinking is not just a refreshment to our eyes, but a refreshment to our mind and our thoughts. Our mind cuts when we change our thoughts or our perspective. It naturally refreshes us through the time to concentrate on different aspects. So what if this natural phenomena could shape up film editing? What if we cut faster at chaos, slower for character improvement, which makes editing not manipulative, but natural? As for Martin Scorsese's Raging Bull, this explains everything. Instead of putting us in the audience point of view by long or continuous shots through the sequence, which almost all boxing movies do, editor Thelma Schoolmaker made us to feel the punch by how a boxer feels and blinks. So when the boxer thinks, we experience long cuts with minimal changes. But when he fights, he just gets into repetitive refreshment of his thoughts, and that results in the harsh, fast cuts and bright bulb flashes all over the scene.
Undefeated Sugar Ray. His winning ways are in jeopardy. LaMotta coming at him again. LaMotta painting left hand.
I'm not saying this is the only way, but this could be more natural way to execute the scene by film editing. So as far as we are concerned, a good rhythm develops the character's emotions or what the character is going through. Editing with a good rhythm is just like dancing for a catchy tune. The flow never stops. Number 3. Time. Theoretically, editing is just a juxtaposition of several shots into an alternate time and space of a movie. In a way, if a scene is photographed with only 2 shots, let's say A and B, the number of possibilities of a scene would be A, B, A plus B, and B plus A. However, if a director chooses to have 25 different shots per an average scene, it turns out being astronomical, and the formula is C is equals to E into n factorial minus 1, where E defines a transcendental number 2.71828, and n equals number of shots, that is 25, and C is different possibilities of a shot. So E multiplying with 25 factorial minus 1 gives us 39 following 24 nines. So an editor has 40 trillion possibilities to cut a scene. That is bigger than anything we could imagine. Remember, 25 is an average number for normally narrated scene, having 250 shots per an action scene. So if we mostly took all the filthy junk out of it, we we would still be left with 40 million possibilities. That means editing is an unquantifiable task with just an alternation through time and space. For example, consider the scene from Whiplash where Fletcher enters the classroom.
We got a squeaker today, people. Neiman, 19 years old. Isn't he cute? All right, gang, Whiplash.
So having a possibility, let me show the same scene with different alignment of shots.
We got a squeaker today, people. Neiman, 19 years old. Isn't he cute? All right, gang, Whiplash.
With the millions of possibilities, we could align the same scene into many different ways, and every alignment could result in an unique mood and psychology. Like, we didn't find Fletcher as dominating as in the first cut than in the second cut, but we got a point of view of Fletcher through Andrew, which could result in more sympathy to Andrew. A job of an editor is to choose the right alignment for a particular psychology of the situation. So, cutting through a little fraction of seconds back and forth in time could change everything. Taking some time to cut still after a dialogue could give a subtext and true sense of the character. Also, cutting sharp at the middle of a dialogue could give what he really wants to say, or he doesn't want us to see what he could really do. From 20th century till now, the evolution of editing through time and space is nothing but how to cut. It developed from the times where there are no cuts to the invisibility of the cuts. It is strictly and purely a creative process. The technology helped a little, but it is just to evoke the human creativity. Either non-linear or linear, either Moviola, Chem, Steinbeck or Avid Final Cut Premiere Pro. Their job is just to decrease the physical process of an editor. It all builds upon the creativity of an editor, how he manipulates the audience to drive into the psychology of the characters. Thus, the process of editing must not be manipulative, but natural. How naturally it echoes the characters and their behavior. The audience must be manipulated into the characters, but not the other way around. The characters deserve their true cut. So a cut can be as useless as it could get, or as powerful it could evolve. The process of structure, rhythm, and time is just an anatomy of a creative process, not a formula. Sometimes it might not work, but an instinct of an editor tells what to do and how to cut. An editor stares at every cut and every frame preciously with passion and with a sense of emotion. The process that does not carry on artificial intelligence but human emotion. It doesn't need a formula but an instinct, which looks just like infinity, simple but complicated. Editing is pure and true form of art and filmmaking.
Because you take one shot, you put it together with another shot, and you experience a third image in your mind's eye. that doesn't really exist in those two other images.